prepared. You want to try this one? You didn't have to do it so hard.
All right. Get that out of my face. Okay. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Spencer.
And I'm Lance.
And we are in the garage. Tonight, we got a fun one for you, and it could be a little bit informational and help some folks out. So I'm excited to get into the meat and potatoes of this video. But first, Lance has our tradition, the legendary Temu time.
Okay. It's a big box here.
It looked heavy.
It's a little bit heavy. All right, here it is. These, I don't know if you can see, little sorter clips for plug wires.
I can't see. Okay. I see some related items coming up.
A bunch of plug wires. And then,
can I guess?
Yes.
Is it spark plugs?
Spark plugs. And these are iridium, and the way you can know that they're iridium is they say right on them, iridium. Okay? No other branding, but they are iridium, it says. Okay? And there's 8 of those. So you might see where this is going. Oh, they would have stayed in there. I thought it was a hole straight through them. And then, I don't feel like pulling these out, so I'm just going to show them to you.
You can pull one out.
And
people are going to want to see those bad boys.
They look so pretty in the foam. Coil packs. This is an entire tune-up kit here for the Hummer H2. We're just thinking that new plugs, new wires, new coil packs might be the trick to making that thing run at 100%.
Well, we know we had at least one bad wire for sure on it, right? Yeah. Like we ripped one in half or something almost. And then you used to have lethal voltage.
It says that?
Yeah, it says lethal voltage on there.
There's only one way to test that out.
Yeah. I have to believe there's more than one way because they figured it out. Unless Ned is just dead in the factory.
I don't think his name is Ned, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't think his name was Ned either.
All right.
So I like that there's absolutely just no brands on anything there.
Lethal Force.
You checking how much you paid?
As is most Temu purchases, it can be difficult to get a real price. But looks like it was about $104. My out-of-pocket cost on it was $15. And
you had some credits, or it was
and coupons and credits and different stuff. And actually, my out-of-pocket ended up being 0 on this one because I bought these, and I think I suggested to you about like maybe we should do this, and you were like, I don't know, maybe we should, maybe we shouldn't. I was like, you know what? I'll get my credit back and all those things. I'm just gonna go return these. So I went to apply for a return, and it said keep your $15 and keep the item. So out of pocket's actually 0.
Nice. All right.
So,
fun little kit there. If you got a Chevy 6.0, you can, if you want to be unethical, you can get those for free.
I wouldn't try that. But if you're legitimately willing to return them, and then they just say keep them, then you just keep them.
I said unethical.
Right. So
I wasn't saying do it.
Yeah. But you said if you want to be unethical.
Nobody wants to be unethical.
I said I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Felt like you needed to clarify it because they thought
I didn't think I was unethical.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, yeah, don't do that. That's stealing. Today, we are going to get into something that I think could be helpful for all folks. It's one time or another in life who have ever had their car broken down or had an issue while they were driving. And I get calls from my wife, friends, family, mom, every once in a while that are like, hey, my car is doing such and such, and what should I do? Okay? And so we're going to go through some of those scenarios that are common car problems and what you can do while you're out on the road if you're by yourself or you need to have, you don't have someone to call maybe that knows or something like that. So maybe this will help some folks out. I think let's start out. We're going to go back and forth here a little bit on different things you can do and keep in your car maybe to help yourself out a little bit.
Okay.
So
do you expect this to be more helpful or less helpful than the air conditioning segment?
I don't think anything could be quite as helpful as the suggestion to roll down your windows if you don't have AC.
Yeah, except for that one guy who said don't do it in Pennsylvania.
I've tried both options. One I died. Anyways, let's start with the most common issue I think that happens to folks.
I'm interested to hear this because I actually have two that I would consider to be almost equal with the most common things, and I don't think you're going to say either one of them.
Okay, well, we got three most common things.
Let's go.
All right. My number one would just be a warning light.
Okay.
I guess I'm thinking mostly check engine light because I think even tires, we can talk about that. But I think that check engine light is probably the most concerning thing for people where, you're driving down the road, that pops up and you're like, oh my goodness, what is happening on this car? And I even have that happen myself. Like I have the same feeling, even knowing, it's some things about cars and certainly not everything. But the check engine light pops up and I'm like, what's happening to this car? And check engine lights, what would you say the percentage-wise in your experience is where you can keep driving and you don't really have to worry about it?
It's probably like 90-10. I'd say 10% of the time there is something going on that the check engine light is on and sometimes even flips to flashing, which does mean something.
Flashing is almost always that you're having some misfires.
Yeah.
Which is never a good thing. Can be a simple fix. But
I don't think I've ever just driven a vehicle with a flashing check engine light for more than 20 or 30 miles. Like I've always gotten
you wouldn't
home
want to. You wouldn't want to
solve the problem, because it always seems to lead to something else.
So I'll give you a real world example that just happened to me. So, and I had to diagnose this and figure it out in a short amount of time. I was 3 hours away from my house, and our Chrysler Pacifica flashing check engine light popped up and was accompanied by very rough running and misfires. Like, real. And even though it's a Pacifica, it's supposed to be our, reliable car. I have no tools. I have nothing inside this car. We hadn't really had any big issues like that with it or anything like that. But what I did, and this would be where I think is helpful for folks, I drove straight to an auto parts store. Auto parts stores will scan your check engine lights for free. There's just a guy there, and you say, "Hey, can I, have you come out and check my
as long as it's not like their coffee break."
Yeah, okay. The guys aren't always the most friendly, but they will do it. I mean, it's one of the services they offer. Okay. So, This one I actually did have some issues with that part. No, I did. Yeah. He was the only guy there. He couldn't leave the store, and I said, "Well, just hand me the code reader." So they'll come out with a code reader, and it will tell you what your check engine light is saying for. Mine said that I was having a misfire on cylinder 5, and so you wouldn't have to do this, but that could be a few different things. Could be is something as severe as internal engine issues. The other one is it most likely is a spark plug or a coil pack. Neither of those things are expensive, but I know tools. Most of the auto parts stores also have a few loaner tool sets if you needed to change something quickly. And there's 1,000,001 YouTube videos out there as well. Yeah. So that's another thing. I would also get on forums of things. So I purchased a coil pack for cylinder 5. I did a few other things that you may not have to do on yours, and I put it in and check engine light went away. So that was my thing of and I could have driven it maybe the 3 hours, but it would have been a long, terrible drive. It was really, really not running well. Now, do you have anything else to say on the check engine light? I have a few other things, but I don't know if you have any thoughts there.
No, I mean, well, I was just going to say that, so the flashing light is usually an indicator of something more major. Sometimes it's something as simple as a coil pack and can be fixed and patched up. Sometimes the car runs so rough during it that it's almost undrivable. This was cool.
This was borderline. I could do about 50 miles an hour, something like that. Sometimes it'll throw the car into what's called limp mode, where it will not. Actually, it did that on that, where it will not give you full power. It'll say engine reduced power.
Right. And a lot of other vehicles, I know, as soon as a misfire happens, I don't know if it's the electrical, pulse to the system that it takes to run the coil pack, but it almost makes other systems react to it as well. You'll get ABS and traction control.
Yeah, a lot of times.
And, all sorts of extra things that you're like, how could everything be going wrong? And I'll tell you this much: if there's one comforting thought, it's very unlikely that other things went wrong. There's usually one problem, and that one problem is causing the other ones to look like they're problems, but they're actually not. It would be very strange to have like a misfire, that you also have a bad wheel bearing, that you also have, a bad ABS pump. Like
unless you're in an accident or something.
It's not going to be that. Yeah.
I think, So I think a flashing check engine light is a serious issue that you need to, if your car is still moving, probably get it over somewhere safely, something like that. And it's time to do something like I did. Either drive,
call a mechanic or call a tow truck.
My eyes would go straight from the misfire to everything else on the dash and make sure you have like oil pressure, coolant's not over, heating. But those usually are coming with other warning lights as well.
They usually do. But unfortunately, like newer cars, they're putting less and less gauges on that cluster.
Yeah, there is not a lot.
Your temp gauge. Yeah, I would look at temp gauge and oil pressure if you can see them on your screen or if you can scroll through. The good part is a lot of vehicles do have a kind of almost an instant message that pops up that says your vehicle is overheating or you do have an oil pressure issue in addition to it, even without a gauge.
Yep.
So watch your other gauges, see what else is happening. I'd actually get out of the car, walk around it, look underneath. I
would have hit something in the road type stuff too.
Yeah. Look. Well, yeah, I guess that. But I was just thinking, look for fluids, pop the hood, look for steam, look for whatever. The only thing that sometimes even gets me is summertime. AC does usually have a condensate drain that drips like crazy.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
I've looked under a car a few times in the summertime and thought, I mean, not like just looking at the car, but like I had something come up on my dash. And then I thought, let me go check out to make sure everything's okay. Got out, walked around, and I found like puddles. And I was like, and I've actually, and I can't know if I can recommend this, but I've actually dipped my finger in the puddle, tasted it a little bit. Antifreeze has a very sweet taste. And I'm not saying drink it, but like I have tasted it to see if it is water or antifreeze.
Tough to tell on black pavement.
So
yeah,
you can't see the color.
So those are good. That's something probably more severe happening. Right. Now, if you get a just generic check engine light up on the dash, if you give something, let's talk about this. Actually, I think this is a good differentiator. Sometimes there's something called like maintenance required or something like that.
Yeah,
those are usually, unless it's the actual like check engine light with the little design or it says check engine. The other ones are just things that saying your car is due for a service, not that there is anything oil change required, maintenance required, anything like that. Usually it's not pointing to any actual problem, but it's just that you are due for a service. Now, the check engine light thing though, if your car is running well and the check engine light comes up, most of the time, if you're like, everything else seems fine, it's just the check engine light came on, most of the time it is actually something small.
It's an evap leak.
And so you would just drive almost at your convenience. I don't want to recommend that, but I'll say for the purposes of this video, drive to the auto parts store and have them scan it. Evap codes, not a concern for your day-to-day driving. You can keep driving that car. Other things that pop up, and there's so many that I can't really. Evap is the most common cause for a check engine light. So that's probably what you're going to see if your car is running right. Gas cap could be an issue.
At the store, though, at the auto parts store, when you get that scan done, I would recommend, in most cases, not buying any single part that they recommend. The way they do it at AutoZone, I think Advance does it as well, is they kind of give you a printout of like, these are your codes and recommended part. And like, so let's just say it is an evap code. If it's an evap code, it'll say purge solenoid, right? And it could be a bad purge solenoid. There's ways to check that. There's ways to actuate it and see if it clicks and things like that. But it also could be like the line from the purge solenoid back to the gas tank has a hairline crack in it somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's going to recommend that the part be replaced, but you replace the part, and if you never fix the crack, it's going to bring up the same exact code once again.
On most of these, for the folks that I think who are going to be watching this video for the true informational purposes, you do need to take the car to a mechanic. Then I'm just talking about of your worry for that day of like getting to work or whatever.
But for that same customer, I'm trying to recommend that they just say no thank you to the guy at the counter whenever they say, get a purge solenoid and actually take it to somebody to have looked at, unless you feel like
the AutoZone folks are not mechanics.
Right. There might be some there, but that's
it's not they work at AutoZone, which is fine. That's no hate. Just
actually, I need them there.
They're not the ones. They sell. All right, what were the two things that you had that were most common things that you've had? Right?
Flat tire, of some sort, and a belt. Going. Those
I have not ever had a belt. That's not 100% true. I have had a belt, but not often.
Belts happen a decent amount. Anyway. But let's talk about the flat tire thing for a second. A lot of cars are now coming with no spare. You open up the rear trunk storage area, or you look underneath, and there's no spare tire. It's just maybe a can of Fix-A-Flat, or maybe the other owner threw the tire away, or whatever. Who knows? There's a lot of times I've been by the road, kind of stranded, and cannot find a spare tire. But the first thing you want to do is actually kind of inspect your tire. There's no reason to bust out a compressor or a Fix-A-Flat, can of air or whatever, if you see just a shredded tire. I mean, you see the sidewall's gone, you see tread flapping.
If you heard it explode,
your
tire, that tire's not ever going to be used again.
Now, if you get like a TPMS light, which is a lot more common, where it said it was 35 pounds, then it said it was 32, and then it's 28, and all of a sudden the light comes on, you can probably figure out a way to make that work. The first thing I would do, if you don't have a spare, or if you don't have a can of Fix-A-Flat or something like that, is just look for the closest place that has an air pump available. Usually a gas station. I know in the
almost all have them. Some have them for free. Some you got to pay.
In the Northeast, Sheetz and Wawa.
Rudders as well.
Rudders has it too. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's Northeast. Yeah. Wawa now goes down to Florida, so they're kind of all over. But yeah, they usually have a free air pump. But you'll probably be able to put enough air in that tire, even if that tire is recommended at 35 pounds or something like that. I say put 42, 43. If it's leaking that quick that it's dropping by 2 or 3 points, every single 5 miles. Put 42 or something in it, and then make a beeline for either a tire shop or your home, where you might have some tools or things like that to work on it. But you can limp it along, and I still would drive a car that was down to 15, 20, whatever, I don't know, less than 15, 10 pounds. I would still maybe try to go 20 miles an hour and get that to my house if my house was 5 miles away. But once you get below 10, then you're...
Yeah, well, and you have to remember, if you do go to your house, it's going to be flat the next day when you get you got to pump. So you got to have an air compressor. That's something I would absolutely recommend to have in your car. Is one of the little air compressors. They're not expensive. They're $20. At Walmart. Go get one.
So the other one, I guess all I'm saying is if you go out there and the thing is a blowout and you don't have the spare tire, you just got to call AAA or somebody. You're pretty much done.
I have seen. So that's another thing. People don't know how far they can drive.
Oh,
on a flat.
So on
because the car will still physically move
on a wheel.
And there's a disconnect.
Yeah. If there is a wheel with just a raw ripped up tire on it or something like that, few thousand feet. Yeah. I mean, and I'm talking at 3-4 miles.
And you are gonna destroy there is a certain distance where probably there's enough rubber still left of the tire that it's not going to destroy your wheel. That might be the few thousand feet, but even that is pushing it.
Yeah.
And you can't drive to the tire shop.
No, you can't make it.
You're going to destroy your wheel, which is going to negate any savings that you thought you were getting by driving.
Call the tow truck.
Call the tow truck.
Yep.
It's going to cause you a bunch of other problems. Do not try to drive on.
Now, what if you realize you've been doing it for a while and you look down, the wheel is completely chewed up and screwed?
I still wouldn't. Because you're just asking for other damage. You're just asking for other damage.
Things start flapping around. It's a big mess.
It's not good. You're it's got to call tow. And no shame. That happens to everybody every once in a while.
Do you think a AAA membership's worth it?
I do. Yeah. I mean, it depends on the car. that you
can't stop a flat tire, though.
You can't stop a flat tire. No, that's very true. So yeah, I think it is. I think mine for the like pro plan is like $13 a month. And in fact, if you're debating between AAA or Spotify and you drive anywhere, you're gonna want to buy AAA rather than Spotify.
You can just use the radio.
It works. Yeah, you can just listen to the songs that come onto the radio and a few ads. Yeah, absolutely. No, that's like an adult decision there, as much as it kind of sucks. But if the budget's tight, but you have Spotify, cancel your Spotify and get AAA so that you're not stranded somewhere.
Yeah. The other thing is belts. Apparently, it's never happened to Spencer, but I've had over the years many times where a belt either completely gave up or started shredding, like where I started hearing like a ticking, tapping sound under the hood.
Yeah.
And like I opened it up, and sure enough, there's phrase of the belt just flapping around, hitting stuff or whatever. And if that started to happen, your belt probably doesn't have much life left. It's probably going to give up. And your belt in most cars traditionally drove things like your air conditioning, your alternator, your power steering pump. Now in recent cars, there's been some changes. Sometimes a water pump will be on the belt. But in recent cars, there's different things like, electric power steering where there's no belt. There's things like water pumps that are, running on a timing chain or, something internal. So there's some, exceptions to that. But if you have a belt that gives up and it runs your water pump, you're pretty much done. You need to either fix that belt somehow, which I don't know how to tell you to do. I've heard things of, using a combination of a real belt, like something to turn and some duct tape or whatever. But there's really no good fix along the road. Like you actually need to go get the belt and put it on, or you need to get towed to someplace that has a belt and get it put on. And some serpentine belts are very simple to put on, and other ones will really test your patience. So you got to look at the kind of routing of the diagram. It's usually under the hood. It tells you the way they go. And if you look at that diagram and it looks like where your hand can reach and all those things, it's possible that you can do it. Give it a try. Otherwise, take it to a mechanic, have them fix it.
And that's a cheap fix.
Yeah.
You're not in for some.
It's a $20 part, $30 part. It's not much.
And somebody else can change it in
hour of labor, maybe if they round. Well, no, but they usually round up. Yeah. So $100 you're fixed. 150 maybe. And the only thing I will say is if you look down and you don't get any indication from your gauges that your temperature is rising, you're probably in a vehicle that does not have a belt-driven water pump because the temperature is staying the same. Your battery itself will no longer be getting a charge from the alternator. And the new modern cars are very battery sensitive. If they don't have a good, strong battery, you're actually going to start getting check engine lights.
You have about 5 minutes.
For like misfires. Yeah. You'll get traction and ABS lights. You'll get all these different lights that'll light up because of this. So, but you can try. You could try to get it, as far as it will go. Just know you're probably going to draw your battery down, and ultimately, all I would say is if you're going to try to drive it to the mechanic with a belt and the vehicle's not overheating, if it's just an electrical issue because the alternator's not charging, look for where the garage is ahead of you and look at the berm or the side of the road and make sure that there are parking lots or an edge, some place for you to go because your car may die at any time. If it's a narrow street or something like that, probably just stop where you are and
you have I would say you have about 5 minutes in most cases with newer cars with a battery that's not charging.
A little bit older, like a 10 or 15-year-old car, you might have 30 minutes. Like
it depends. If you have a good battery health, I mean, you got a brand new battery. But it's just you're going to decide where you want to be broken down. Which is a big decision. I like the idea of breaking down in a Walmart parking lot that I could. Well, I call AAA and they say it's an hour and 15-minute wait. I can just go sit in the air conditioning or the heat and shop. Yep.
That's all right.
So you touched on one there that I think we should cover, and that is coolant issues, because I think that is a super common thing that happens as well.
Do you think it's important to clarify to the audience? I know that we have a lot of automotive people, but also some that are not, that coolant can mean two different things. I actually have somebody who has brought their concerns to me many times. A family member that's been like, "Hey, I saw some indication that like the car's low in coolant," and I think that means my AC is going to stop working.
Well, it will once the car has overheated.
Yeah, but a lot of people believe that coolant is not only for cooling the engine, but also for cooling the car.
Well, it's not. Those are two completely
different systems.
Separated systems. Yeah. No connection there.
Okay.
Coolant is wildly important for your car to continue running and not have major issues, like thousands and thousands of dollars.
Right.
And while air conditioning is annoying, you can still get A to B with no air conditioning with no problem. Two completely different systems there. So I've been in cars that have overheated, and you sometimes on modern cars now there usually is a fair amount of warning lights that will pop up once the car has reached that temperature. It's too hot.
It's usually engine hot.
Engine hot. But this is something where you need to pull over and assess what's happening pretty much immediately. There's no if your temperature gauge or you're getting the warning lights, it is time to pull over in the next. I don't want someone to pull over in an unsafe spot because that may not be worth it. The next safe spot.
I just had a conversation with somebody this weekend that was telling a story of one time their daughter was in the what we call cattle chutes, like the construction there down to one single lane with concrete barriers on both sides.
Yep.
And they do usually have every mile or two an emergency pull-off area or something like that. Mm-hmm. But whatever her situation was, either she didn't see that or it didn't exist in this scenario, and she drove it to the next town or exit, even though she was getting a engine hot, shut off kind of message.
Yep.
And just completely made the head gasket and the engine toast.
Destroyed the engine.
Yeah, destroyed the engine.
So what I would do, so in that scenario, I think this is a good tip too, because I don't think people know this. If you cannot pull over, you need to immediately roll your windows down, put all your windows down and run heat. Doesn't matter if it's the middle of July or August and it's 100 degrees outside. Put your windows down, turn your fan on and everything with heat, because heat does use the cooling system of the car.
Yeah.
You actually do get heat in your car from the cooling system, but you don't get AC. So that's probably a good note. Yeah. But that will take some of the heat out of the actual engine.
It goes through a thing, just for informational purposes, it goes through a thing called a heater core. And a heater core is a little miniature radiator. And the fan, the air you feel blowing on your face in your car, is blown through that little heater core. Mm-hmm. When it's not AC, when it's not heat time, a flap flips and that same fan blows through an AC condenser, which is another little tiny radiator, but it blows cold air through that condenser. So, or actually that's an exchanger or something like that at that point. But anyway, my point is these little tiny radiators, they actually will help you in the heater side.
Dissipates heat.
Yeah, dissipates heat. You actually get rid of some
blows air through it and cools it down. Yeah. So that's the first thing. If you can't stop immediately, I mean, you can do that anyways. I think that's a good tip to probably do in either scenario. But the first step is absolutely finding the place you are going to pull over immediately.
Yeah. Bring your RPMs down.
Yeah. Drive carefully.
Yeah. Like, and RPMs, I just mean don't rev
beat
the
on
throttle.
The car. Yeah. Don't go fast. Don't floor it to get to your next stop.
Yeah. If you have options, like if you're in a situation where you are in cattle chutes, but it's all downhill in front of you, I'd even flip the key off, not the whole way to where your steering column locks, but I'd flip the key off enough just to let it coast. Yeah. And I'd coast down that hill, even if the people behind me are a little upset that I'm going 40 and not
flip on
60.
The four ways. Yeah. Let people know you're having an issue.
But as soon as you see the emergency pull off, get in there.
Yep. This is an emergency type issue.
Yeah.
Now, once you're sitting on the side of the road, there's a few things you can do. Number one is don't open your coolant cap if there's one on the radiator while it's hot.
No? I've done that a time.
Yeah, I know. Because if there's coolant in there, it'll spray and burn. Yeah, I can't recommend it to folks.
Don't do it.
Unless you really know what you're doing here. But Now, you could look and make sure that your belt is not broken. Now, like Lance is saying, that there could be an issue there with your belt broken. You look down, okay, belt looks okay, so the water pump is working. You could have a failing water pump, which is you're going to have to be towed. You could just be, and in most cases, you have a coolant leak somewhere. And this is a fixable problem. Now, if you have one of the tanks, you can look under your engine at the reservoir tank. And this is a good time to also pull up a YouTube video that actually shows this stuff in depth. We can't go into all of the things you would do. But if there's a tank there and it's emptied out and you have water with you, you actually are in an okay position here to fix this, to get yourself to a mechanic to have the leak diagnosed.
And think through any water you might have, whether it be a case of bottled water, whether it be a hydro flask or a Stanley or something like that. Whatever you have that's water, use it.
Now, if you you could pour water or, keep a jug of coolant with you, whatever. But you probably don't have a coolant jug with you is my assumption. So whatever you're going to have to do, you're going to have to get some water. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
If you don't have water with you, you're pretty much going to have to call for a tow. The only thing you could do is if you are like around the corner from a store, and I mean within 3 minutes of starting the car, you could let the car cool completely down, open the hood, let the heat out from the engine. You could probably nurse it to a Walmart or something if you are right there. If you're 5 miles away, you're too far away.
But I'm telling you, like even in that 3 minute thing, like if you pull off the exit and there's like a red light, shut your engine off. Sit there, wait the whole red light till she turns green until the car in front of you is starting to move.
Yes. Yeah. Don't just let it idle.
And
So don't just let it idle.
Oh, don't just let it idle. Yeah.
Don't just let it idle.
Yeah.
So there's a very small amount. I mean, I'm talking. I think within 1 mile, and even in that is tough for me to say, but you could nurse it there probably within 1 mile. Otherwise, you're gonna have a tow truck.
And there actually used to be a time when, I'm not saying like I would recommend overheating your car, but they used to build all the engines out of like cast iron or steel type blocks and heads. And when they did that, they were much less likely to warp or to have any sort of issues. But now almost all cars are made out of like at least aluminum heads. Some of them have aluminum blocks as well. And that difference in the metal, like you can melt aluminum much quicker than you can melt steel. So, and I mean, there's other facts about melting steel, like jet fuel can't melt steel beams. And there's some things like that to keep in mind. Okay, but it will actually warp. They say it's called warping the head. It basically what used to be a flat surface where the two parts met now has like basically gotten wavy. It's not straight anymore, and that's when your head gasket starts leaking. And that's when you hear about major mechanical repairs. So that's why you don't want to get it too hot.
Yep. Absolutely. So that one, that's a major issue. Next, and this will probably be kind of our last one, is probably like ABS traction control type lights. And I'll give an example of people sometimes freak out about wheel bearings. You'll notice like a hum or your ABS light comes on and your wheel bearing is going bad. You're probably not going to lose a wheel. Some people think that your wheel is going to fly off. Theoretically,
it's sometimes possible.
But you can usually get that car to a mechanic. But if it is humming, you need it replaced pretty much right away. But you can drive to your mechanic.
Don't wait for a family member or a friend to get in your car and go, what is that noise? And you go, oh yeah, that's been getting louder for the last 6 months or something.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
No, it needs replaced. You're gonna wear, even if it keeps driving, you're gonna wear out tires. Yeah. Like, because it moves now. You have loose parts and things like that. But generally, ABS traction control is not an immediate pullover type scenario. Yeah. It's a take it to a mechanic and figure out what's wrong scenario.
Are you done with that?
Yeah, go ahead.
There is one that is, absolutely.
Okay,
and
go ahead.
I know we're in like an overtime now, but...
All right, go ahead.
But oil pressure.
Oh, yes, I did want to talk about that.
Oil pressure is huge.
Yes.
Yeah. If you get anything on the dash that shows, whether it's a needle that goes from having 14, 18, 20, whatever pounds of pressure, PSI on your oil pressure to 0 or like 5 or something like that, like if it drops down, you are in trouble. And a lot of times it's accompanied by a light that says low oil pressure, shut engine off. I mean, literally shut your engine off.
Yeah, that's a borderline one without like getting absolutely 100% rear-ended.
Yeah,
it's a borderline one where you're gonna hold up traffic. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, if you're the engine needs shut off now.
It might be like in the cattle chute, scenario.
Yeah, it's tough,
but it actually might be worth just shutting it off. Like shutting it off
and having a nice person behind you somewhere help you push it. It's tough. You got to weigh that one on your own, but it is an immediate.
But I'm just saying, like if you literally, are you okay there?
I think it was a B.
It's this thing right here, whatever this is.
Oh, it's
okay.
That's not a B.
Anyway, if you are okay, if you are low oil pressure light and you're in the cattle chutes, you will probably, if it's really low oil pressure, like if it actually is not pumping oil, your engine is going to blow up 2,000 feet down the road. Like
you're gonna be stopped.
It's gonna lock up, seized up, and you're gonna be stopping traffic anyway. Yep. So stop traffic and save your money. That way you're not ruining your engine.
And then immediately get out. This could be a solvable problem. Maybe you didn't check your oil in the last 6 months.
Yeah, check the dipstick.
Pull the dipstick, see if there's oil in there. If there is oil, you're in some trouble because you probably have a bad oil pump or that's pretty much something major is going on. The other one is if it is low on oil, you have oil with you. This is another solvable problem.
Yeah.
It's never a bad idea because you can top it off with oil and probably continue going. You're probably just, if there's nothing showing on the dipstick, now you may have already caused engine damage at that point. If it's down where it's like these systems are not overly sensitive, like you have lost oil pressure, which means your engine has run out of oil inside. But if it's low, top it off, you might be okay for the rest of the car's life, but you also probably caused some damage inside. And so it's always a good idea for some water or coolant to be along with you and just to keep a quart of oil in the car. Even on new cars. By the way, new cars burn oil.
Actually, they burn oil worse than
some of the old cars.
90s and 2000s cars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not worse than the 70s and 80s cars. But,
no. But I think that's most of the scenarios, though. But, I mean, a little bit of preparation. Compressor, little air compressor,
quart of
oil, a little bit of water or coolant with you. Yeah. And you are going to be able to fix most, maybe you can't fix a flat, something like that.
Basic little toolkit?
Basic little toolkit. Screwdriver, something like that, pair of pliers. You are going to be able to fix 90% of the easily fixable problems alongside the road with a YouTube video.
Yeah.
I mean, like your day may not even be disrupted. You may still make it to your appointment, your appointments on time type of scenarios.
Well, and also even if you're a person who really doesn't even feel comfortable doing the work or whatever, if you are pulled over along the side of the road, like I'm not saying everybody that stops is a good person, but there are actually good people who do stop and go, hey, do you need help changing that flat or whatever. If you feel comfortable with the situation, say yes to them if you don't know, because they might be able to pull out that like pair of pliers and tighten up that hose clamp on the coolant line, and you didn't know what to do.
Yeah, I've had a coolant line blow off while I'm driving for no reason.
So there's little things that if you feel comfortable to accept the help, maybe accept the help. I know there's crazy stories on scary crime podcasts and things, but like I don't know. I would probably assess the situation. It's probably somebody trying to help. So.
Yeah, in most, 99.999% of the time, I think that's true. But so just a little bit of preparation, a little bit of knowledge.
Don't run your car out of gas either.
Oh, out of gas, you're gonna be walking.
Out of gas sucks.
Yeah,
and like, dude,
you can't keep gas with you in the car because it gets real stinky.
But no, that happens though. Like sometimes your car breaks down, and you're like, "What happened?"
Yeah,
and you're like, "Oh, it's gas."
Yeah,
I'm out of gas. So.
I've done that where I'm like, I got to get gas tomorrow, and then I hop in the car and I'm like driving down the road, and I'm like, "Oh my goodness!"
Yeah,
like I've been going 25 miles and it's only 30 on E. But anyways,
crazy.
All right. Appreciate you guys following along. I do hope that this was helpful for you if you're looking for some basic car knowledge out there. See you in the next one, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right.